production highlights. Where is it located in your new facility out in Henderson? And give us the lowdown.
Yeah, so you're right. It's in Henderson. It's about 12 miles south of the stadium. So we're fortunate to have these two buildings so close to one another. In fact, there's many instances where if you're driving through the valley, you can see both within one shot. So it's beautiful. There is no commute really between the two. We are connected via fiber, 10 gig going between the two. So the thinking to put it here at headquarters, Intermountain Healthcare Performance Center, was really just out of how close can we be to the players on day to day, right? So we started with that. We're 3 floors here. We were originally on the 3rd floor. We then moved it to the 2nd floor, which sort of posed more problems for other people because we're at 16 feet tall. So then we had to punch through the 3rd floor. We turned that into storage, but thankfully we had the support of owner Mark Davis and President Mark Bedane to give us what we had asked for. So we got the box, we got the space. We're about 2,000 square feet. And those walls come in quickly as you start to build out scenic and start to design that space. You'll see it just right away. So in total, the 4 spaces are, we've got the main studio, we've got the control room, we've got the audio booth and a podcast and a live radio booth as well. So those 4 spaces, I don't know the total footprint, but we got what we asked for. We're thankful for that. We're right above the players. We built out a private stairwell so that even we could bring the players right up. You need to be close to your subjects, right? I mean, if you are asking someone to walk 200 yards across the field to over here, and it's only going to take a minute, they're going to look right over and they're going to say no. So now we try to eliminate that excuse and say, look, all you have to do is walk up 12 steps and you're inside our studio, right? So we're right above the players. In fact, it's the team auditorium, which then, as you know, as players come in, you've got music, you've got coaches presenting material, et cetera, et cetera. So we had to go through the rigors of acoustically treating all of these spaces, as well as the fact that we are across the street from a private airport. So oftentimes jets are taken off, and so it's isolated, it's quiet, you can't hear anything outside of it, but it takes on a little bit of the look and feel of the stadium. That was our inspiration. We wanted the two to feel like there was a relationship between what's inside the studio and the stadium, as well as the exterior of headquarters, which I'll show you here. The one thing we wanted to do was, how do you bring in color into an environment that is silver and black, right? So we've got 3x3 video wall. We've got other AV and technology, as well as a nice panoramic shot of the strip, so that the inclusion of the colors that otherwise would be absent inside that space gives it a little more vibrancy. Inside the main studio, we put Sony cameras, we put a 13-foot jib, and like I said, plenty of space inside there. Everything's modular, everything could be moved around. We could slide the main anchor desk around, we could pull the screens off the wall and sort of pivot them on articulating arms so that we could sort of envision the space as we evolve within the space. But if you go right next door, then we've got the video control room. Inside there, it's a Ross background, backbone. We've got the Ultrix, we've got the Carbonite, and we are generating content off of the Expressions. The size of that footprint's about 450 feet, and then adjacent to that, we've got the audio booth, and like I said, the podcast space as well. So all are connected to each other. You could pass through every single one through door to door. They all connect, and we're pleased with the space. We love it.
Yeah, and I actually had a chance to speak with your director of game and event presentation, Justin Cashley. He talked a lot about the new stadium. So if it looks anything like the new stadium, you guys did a heck of a job. Brad, I'll keep you there. Many years out in the Bay, in Oakland and in that area, you guys moved to Vegas. Why do you think it was so important to create that punch to kind of make a statement with this new facility and this new studio with your first year in Vegas?
Yeah, that's a good question. And it was our first opportunity. This is the first time that we have owned a stadium. This is the first time that we have purposefully built a new headquarters. We have always been tenants in stadiums or in headquarters. So this was the first time where we as the Raiders had the chance to sit down with contractors and architects and lay out our vision. And going back to Mark Davis, he put us all at that table, and every single person, whether it was equipment, whether it was strength and training, or media or PR, HR, et cetera, all had that opportunity to sit at that table and say, if I had a chance to do this one time, this is exactly how I would do it. So to answer your question, it was just, it was our only opportunity. So we took full advantage of it. It wasn't easy because we were, kind of going to and from Las Vegas to Oakland. And as you guys know how that story goes, we were still playing games back in Oakland. So, having to commute back and forth, as well as these programming sessions with the architect and designers of these spaces, and really trying to concentrate your time and your focus, your energy, and making sure that you didn't miss. I mean, we made a lot of decisions in an accelerated amount of time, and it was scary. And I think, Andrew said it earlier, or maybe you might have said it earlier, reaching out to other folks and asking who have gone through this process, the do's and don'ts, was invaluable to me. Created what was just a small peer group, and eventually really got into the weeds of some of the design of these spaces. And they were just instrumental in helping me, like I said, in an accelerated amount of time, make some decisions that we didn't want to regret.
First year's down your belt, how have operations kind of changed now that you're in the off season? What kind of content are you creating for Raider Nation, wherever they are?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not going to list off all the programs, but essentially we went from about 2 to about 10, 11 shows overnight. So as we relocated the Raiders out here into this market, one of our first steps out here was understanding, how it consumes content, right, and media. And we created partnerships with all of the over-the-air networks. So ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox all carry Raiders programming. We thought it was important for us to make sure that, this market had access to Raiders programming year round. So we sort of hit that objective. We're very pleased with the partnerships that we have with them. They're fantastic. And all that programming too can also be seen online. So we could slice and dice it similar to the model of NFL media or NFL network, right? So we've got the studio-based programming, and then we could take that and kind of create our own highlights from that programming to service, any platform, social or otherwise, our O&O. So a lot of programming coming out here. Versatility, yes, matters. Flexibility matters. We're connected to those affiliates, so we could drop the programming over to them. When life does get back to normal, we do intend to open the doors to them so that if they want to broadcast and do hits out of our studio, the technology is there, the backbone is there for them to do that. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of linear. A lot of radio. We've partnered with Lotus here locally, so we've got a Raider Nation station that's kicking out about 30 hours of live radio content as well. We could broadcast that from here or their studio. Makes no difference. We've started bringing them in locally, or recently, I should say. And so this is just the start of it, really. I mean, now that we have the infrastructure that we've always needed, we could just sort of add on as needed. Just as an example, Tom Flores was recently nominated into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, right? So last week we had him in, and we've got a 30-minute special that'll broadcast tonight. So a lot of flexibility, a lot of program, a lot of partnership activation, but a lot of good things to come for Raider Nation.